Okay, here's our guest. Okay, so we got it all ready and everything, and we're going to be talking to the guest now. Wait a minute, we got a little static on the phone. Good morning.
Hi,
okay.
it's BJ.
Yeah, okay, so VJ, that's what we're calling you because everything is V. So I thought, am I going to call him V? But
no, VJ, please, VJ.
V.
That's just in writing.
Okay, good. So VJ Lakshman, right?
Yeah, Lakshman is great, or Lakshman's fine. You know, like Lucky Lakshman. Easy way to remember.
Lakshman it is. No problem. Thank you for calling us this morning.
Yeah, and I'm on with Sam and Danny, right?
Sam and Danny it is.
Hey, Danny. Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you guys.
Hi, nice
you
to
too.
meet you.
You too, and thank you for joining us this morning. And you were in LA last week, right?
Yeah, I was, and unfortunately we didn't get to meet, but I was excited. I love LA.
Awesome. How long were you here for?
I was just there for about 2 days, but I lived there for 9 years before, so I'm familiar.
Oh, okay. And what, are you like on a tour or something right now, or did you just come to?
No. I was out there for a book thing. My book is they're trying to option it for this animated. What's that thing called? Adult Swim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I was out there talking to a buddy of mine who knows that space better than I do,
right.
And I also was I'm a video game developer, so out looking at what some of my other friends are doing in the video game business. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So let me ask you this. I mean, I was quite blown away. You were part of the Elder Scrolls franchise?
Yeah, are we on now live?
Yeah, of course we are.
Hey, that's awesome. Hey, guys. Welcome. Hi, Los Angeles.
Yeah, we're not pre-screening you, VJ.
Oh, man. I must have that every time, though. Yeah. You look, I mean, my first job, crazily enough, was at a tiny, tiny company called Bethesda Softworks, which today is a mega behemoth.
Huge, yes.
And back then, it was 6 of us working in a townhouse, and I got it as a summer job, and I was on my way to medical school, and I got the opportunity to work on a really big title on a movie that had just come out called Terminator.
And I think everybody knows what that is. So.
Yeah. Exactly. And I just kept deferring my enrollment until finally I just, decided medical school's not for me. I'm going to, focus on this gaming business. And I ended up getting an opportunity to design a role-playing game. And the game I designed was the Elder Scrolls world.
Wow.
And I built, basically probably 5 novels worth of backstory and the land and everything else, and
everything came out of your.
Yeah, it was crazy. Huh?
So all this stuff came out of your mind. All these books.
In all honesty, maybe I set the table, but the meals that have been served now are from great, amazing chefs better than me. Right.
Right. Okay.
I set a table for the first 2, and then after that, I had gone on to other things and other game companies working on other game titles. Huge titles at the time, and Elder Scrolls was pushing forward, and hats off to them, man. They went through some really dark times before hitting it, really big with Morrowind, and then now Todd and the team at Bethesda, they really deserve a lot of accolades for just how well they've managed this franchise. And I'm happy, I'm proud to be part of it. At some level, it's nice to look at the map and look at different things and see all the words I came up with and all the names I came up with still being used. That's great.
Wow. So you created like new worlds, right? Worlds that don't exist. That's amazing.
That's right.
And where did you get the idea for all these worlds and characters? I mean, I would imagine, because this is like similar to Lord of the Rings or something, where you're creating a whole world, a language sometimes, right? A different language, different, ways of doing things. And I wonder, where does it come from? I mean, your imagination must be like going wild.
Well, I was very lucky to have grown up in Bangkok, Thailand. And my parents, we traveled a lot. I'm Indian by background, but I grew up in Bangkok, Then we moved to Wisconsin-Madison. Here's a funny little tidbit. I thought Americans were the greatest warriors in the world because everybody had blades they wore on their feet.
Right.
I had no idea that you could ice skate because I'd never seen ice or snow.
That's so funny.
Blades on the feet. Yeah.
At first I was like, what is he talking about?
No, exactly. No, I literally thought ice skates were weapons. And, whatever.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Right. So you started getting ideas.
Yeah, but, so exactly. Traveling gave me a lot of ideas. My parents encouraged me to, always be thinking. And here's another little tidbit for all the listeners out there, right? So I played D&D, right, all the time. And my mother...
Dungeons and Dragons. Tell people D&D.
All this stuff. And my mother used to tell me, that'll never get you a job. Study your math.
Wow.
Study your science. And literally... At my first interview at Bethesda, the lead programmer there said, hey, we don't really need, this area right here, but what do you know about, and it was D&D and all the stuff I had been studying
wow.
for ever. I literally got the job because of D&D. So,
wow. So this was tailored for you, my God.
So, hey, this is out to my mom. There you go, Mom.
Exactly. There you go. You must have given it to her, right? Like, look at what you said. Wow. That's amazing.
So,
this is cool.
It really helps. It helps to read a lot. I would say, get out there and read.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now, Mythborn, tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the things interesting about my background also is I studied the martial arts. I started when I was about 10 years old, and I trained for, I've been training for 40 years now. And when I started writing Mythborn, I was just impressed with how various different fighting and all that in the movies are great. They're really very entertaining, but they don't really look like what it really looks like when you're fighting. And so I was inspired to write Mythborn for, two reasons, or they say you write about what you know, right? So three reasons. One, I didn't like the portrayal of women in like these chainmail bikinis always hugging the leg of some giant dude, right? I mean, like, I get it. That's probably sells books back in the 80s, but, come on, I didn't grow up with that. My mom is crazy, crazy badass, right? She's
right.
And my sister is a doctor, and she, I wouldn't mess with her. And all the women in my life, at least, they don't
it's
hug
not
men's
like
knees and hope to be saved, right? So
right, like damsel in distress,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the second thing I want to do is I wanted to write fighting the way that I actually, experienced it as a master of the martial arts, and I wanted to write something realistic. And, and finally, I wanted to write a story in which not only did I not play to the stereotypes of damsels in distress, but in fact, my story is driven forward by the women in the story. They are the driving force behind all things. And if you look even at the cover of the book, it's multiracial, it's ethnic. I feel the world today, especially with our current state of politics, we are being driven in a horrible direction towards isolationism, towards, single race fanatics, and I don't think that is appropriate. So I wanted to do my part as an author and a writer to really put something out there that has women in charge, that has people of color excelling, and also obviously gives the guys some really badass fighting.
Yeah, wow. And you know what? The covers of your books are actually awesome. And so you got some good artwork on there, but I guess that because it sort of like displays what the story is about, right? I mean, you got all that landscape in the back, and and the characters and all that with swords and whatever it is they have there. Yeah,
I can give you the one liner, right? The kid, there's a boy who's training to be an assassin, and he finds out that his master has been ordered to kill him in 8 days.
Right.
And he has to figure out how to live in the next 8 days. And that starts this quest, this Lord of the Rings style sort of quest of him trying to figure out how to survive. And, as he does, he starts to learn that there are such bigger things happening, why did they order his death? That kind of stuff. The mysteries start to unravel as to why this is all happening. So I think people will really enjoy it.
The thing is that I read a lot. One genre I never read is fantasy like this, But this sounds like I'm really curious as to sort of like enter this alternate world and kind of go with it, because I never experienced it. And I'm wondering, think about it. Like, if you saw like, what's that movie? Avatar, right?
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah.
I know. Can you believe it?
You never saw Avatar?
No, I've seen like every movie on the planet but that.
Okay, you got to see it. Okay, but but Vijay agrees with me. It's a different world, you know. It's a different like
It's all like all the Marvel films.
Yeah.
Those are like you're creating like in a whole different alternate like universe,
right? Or like Star Wars, and with all these characters, all
creatures,
these different species. You know?
I could definitely watch a movie, but I don't know if I could read a book.
Yeah, well, he's got good news because you guys are working on a movie, right? Are you adapting?
We're working on a bunch of things. I mean, I think what's been really great is recently we launched the audiobook. And the narrator, Michael Kramer, his voice is so good. It actually, like, I was laying in bed listening to my own book, which, by the way, my wife must have read like 100 times. And when she heard that voice and me listening to it, she, like, got all like, what book is that? But I'm like, that's my book. You can't listen to it anymore.
Whoa.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity here. In Hollywood, animated or television series where we have these young kids who are coming of age. They are really, really talented in terms of what they know how to do. There's really strong girls who are kicking butt, and like taking names. And I mean, one of the critics out there, not critics, one of the reviewers out there wrote, I expected to get into a book that was sort of like your typical save the princess and, fight dragons and blah, blah, blah. But then, to my surprise, the princess doesn't need saving. She's saving the guy, and the dragons, they're assholes. Just fun, crazy stuff like that. And I was excited to hear, that people are enjoying that so much.
Yeah, and it's in the right environment and time as well because of King of Thrones, right? I mean, King of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, I never watched it.
I didn't get into that either.
Yeah, because of the dragons and all that. But you know what? That's the thing. I really want to experience this for the first time, and I think I'm going to try it with your books because it sounds fascinating to me. I mean, look, Rise of the Adepts. What does that mean?
Well, these adepts are the martial arts guys. No, you're right. You're right. Adepts is right. So the Rise of the Adepts, are the martial art monk-style assassins, and they have been in hiding for years because if you read the first chapter, when you read of the book, you'll see the ending of the first chapter gives a sense of the flavor of the book because you just see wholesale slaughter, like people just get killed off.
Wow.
And what you realize all of a sudden is this is not your really nice fantasy world. This is a world where people die, and people aren't. In my book, people aren't good or all evil. Like there's not some. I could never stand those books or those movies where like there's a guy with a pointy hat standing in a tower, cackling and like I'm going to kill everybody. Like I mean, who lives like that? I don't know anybody like that anywhere, right? I mean, you got to sort of like think about the fact that everybody has a little bit of good and a little bit of evil in them.
Right.
And I wrote a story with characters that actually act the way that's best for them, and when they act in a way that you might agree with, you'll think of them as good, and when they don't, you might not like them so much. But at the end of the day, they're real people.
Yeah, you're not really taking positions on as far as good and bad. You just let them be and surviving. And that's what it sounds like. A world where people die and fight all the time. That's about survival. It's not like us coming into an office every day and doing our thing. This is a world where you really have to survive.
Right.
And that's why, they say that today life is so much easier, although people are saying, oh, well, we have a lot of violence, we have wars and stuff. But you know what? We've never had less wars and less violence than we do now. It's always been like, you have to survive.
Yeah, I feel like when I was in high school and stuff and middle school, I feel like there was a lot of blood, guts, and glory back then.
Right,
I feel
but
like
you
it's
know
not
what?
really happening right now.
But history was
Knock on
written
wood.
with wars. Today, war is the exception in today.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. The same with famine and things like that. So we've made progress, and all that. But Vijay, I love these books. Now, tell us about the martial arts a little bit. I wanted to know. Tell us a little bit about that. So what kind of martial arts, how many years have you been doing this? Since you were really young, right? You said.
I started when I was 10, and I trained about 3 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week for, close to 30 years.
Oh, my God.
Then,
so you're a pro, man.
Yeah.
And then,
you lived this.
Yeah, I was ranked number 1 in the U.S. twice, and also was ranked Rookie of the Year when I first came out with my black belt.
Congratulations.
I have something along the lines of, probably 30,000 hours of training, and several thousand hours in the ring. And, I fought full contact. I always, I grew up sort of training, and it's really interesting because when I wrote this fighting in the book and we started the first run and it started getting edited, my publishers came back to me and they said, hey, the fighting, we're going to have to, change some stuff. And I said, why? Is it not like exciting or, whatever? He goes, oh, no, it's amazing. It's just, we're going to get sued. You're telling people too much, like how to exactly kill someone. You can't write that.
Whoa.
I think people out there trying this stuff and they're like, hurt somebody else. So,
yeah, it's not your responsibility. You need to tell a story and that's it, Yeah.
And, but I think ultimately, what I really, really enjoyed was being able to bring that training to the paper. It's a gift, I think, to be able to write. I don't know why someone can write well or why they can't, but if you can write well, then I have an opportunity now to share with people the philosophies that the martial arts try and teach. And so when I grew up, I trained for a really long time, and I ultimately realized something that I think is true in life and in many things, and that is when I started training, I learned really basic techniques like back fist or, punch or front kick, like the stuff that, you learn as a white belt or whatever. And then as you start going up in the ranks, you start learning these really complex, very difficult to execute techniques, right? And I thought that's where the secret is. That's where you're blah, blah. And then years and years and years later, I finally make the black belt. I get to the black belt ring. I start fighting. Guess what? They're all throwing really simple punch, front kick, back fist, just all the basic techniques, but they execute them perfectly. And what I realized is, life is like that, right? You ultimately, you can be distracted by all the different flashy things, but you gotta really understand that if you know the basics of how to do things, you're gonna be successful if you just stick to the basics. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And
so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean that sounds amazing to me, and I'd love to see you do this because having done it for so long, you must be like extremely good at it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, just like anything else. I mean, you're giving me numbers that pilots have, for flying and stuff, how many hours and stuff they've done this. But, kudos to you for being able to do that, man. And it's paying off for you. I mean, you have it gives you a lot of ideas about writing and how to integrate that into your stories and everything. So amazing.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say that I think that what's really been great is having built video games for so long, a lot of the techniques that we use in video game development actually help creative people control the impulse to just, and like just do, everything that comes to mind. You have a system of how you go about breaking down how you build things, and I think that helped a lot in terms of writing a novel.
Yeah.
It definitely helped a lot.
Wow. I have to reveal that I was part of one game franchise. I was a very small screw in the machine, but nevertheless, I was. We were exploring. I was doing 3D animation way back then. That would be in '96 or so, and so I joined the team of Heroes of Might and Magic, if you remember that.
Oh,
and,
wow! Yeah,
they were out here, and so I joined them for a while. But that was a bad time in my life personally, that I had to leave after a few weeks. But we were working on creating dragons in 3D, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
and
that's one of my favorite games.
What's that?
That's one of my favorite games.
Oh, really? Wow! So you'll see
if you
Google my name. I come up as one on the credits of that game, so it's still cool.
Oh, that's cool.
They give me the credit.
I'll do that.
Yeah. But anyway, back to you, VJ. So we have to run. I wanted to ask you what's in store for you. What's next now?
Well, the audiobook's coming out. Book 4 is almost written, so 3 books are out already, and they're doing great. If people want to pick up any of those or read more about me, we're working hard every day. So the latest news and all that's on our website. If you go to www.mythbornmedia.com, and it's Mythborn, MYTHBORN. Although someone did tell me I should also buy mythporn.com just in case.
Mythporn, yeah.
And so check it out. And, you can find us on Amazon. You can Google Mythborn or VJ Lakshman, and you'll, get all the information you need. What's in store next? Well, I have book 4 and book 5 to write. Book 4 is almost done. Like I said, we're 90,000 words done. So about 100,000 words is the end, and then I'll get to book 5. After that, I think I'm gonna either start another series based in the same world, but one based on technology rather than magic.
Right.
And then I'm always building video games, so I have no doubt I'll be working at some video game company and building either, mobile games or console games or something.
That's awesome, man.
That will be fun.
You're definitely multi-talented, and you're best at what you do in all that you do. Well, at least according to what you're telling us. But no, I'm just kidding. Come on. I mean, I have a lot of respect for someone that's put in so many years into something that they love, and you really took it seriously. I mean, I've never done anything that lasted that long. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the station we've had for 11 years, that's about the longest I've done anything. And here you are, you've dedicated your life, you said 30 years to doing this. And then, you get into your storytelling. I mean, to me, it's fascinating when someone, after having written 3 books, is saying, wait a minute, this is not done yet. I still have 2 more books. I'm like, where do those ideas come from?
It's crazy. I have more ideas than I have time to write in this lifetime.
Whoa.
Like, I can't think of an end to the ideas that I have. And maybe that's why I got into video games, because, every time I'm on a game, I'm building something completely new in a totally different universe, where one week I might be building a game, about race cars, and then, a year later I'm working on, a UFO game, and then a year after that a fighting game, and whatever. So it's like I probably have attention deficit disorder at some point.
Yeah, here you go labeling, but listen, you're amazing, man. Where are you calling us from today?
Well, I'm calling you from the East Coast. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. And, and obviously, I'm completely neutiral to the whole political atmosphere out here, but boy, it's all over the place here.
Yeah, so you're like right in the swamp, right?
Yeah, I love being out in L.A. It was nice to get a break from all the news here and just sit and relax, enjoy the sunshine, talk to nice people, and, read and write. It was really nice.
Good for you. Well, everybody, V. Lakshman, and the website is mythbornmedia.com. Just all you got to do is Google his name, or better yet, go to Amazon and and just look up Mythborn, and all the books come up and everything. You know, I mean, just based on what you tell me and on the amazing art on the cover, I'd love this to be like a comic book series too. You know, I mean,
you definitely the guy who did the covers, his name is Raymond Lejeune, and he is so good. Like, he did this cover in like a week or a week and a half.
Wow.
And he is, not only is he super talented, but he was, you know, on like Spider-Man Homecoming. He was on The Abyss. He worked on Star Trek Beyond. He's a really, really good, like the kind of artist I normally could never work with. But shout out to him, because he recently helps me, and we work together, because I think I gave him one of his first jobs in the game industry.
Wow.
And so now, you know, 20 years later, he's helping me out, and it's really been great.
Yeah, you know, I mean, to be able to visualize on paper what you put in writing is amazing. You know, it really is cool, and you're fortunate to be surrounded, obviously, by talented people.
Yeah, well, you know, I think we're all lucky. I mean, it sounds like you and Danny have been sort of killing it out there. I did a little research, and
really,
it's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much.
Killing it.
Well, Vijay, thank you so much. Vijay, thank you so much. How can people find you on social media, real quick?
Yeah, you bet. So we have a Facebook page. I have my own page, Vijay Lakshman. I have a Mythborn media page for Mythborn. I think I also have a Mythborn book page that you can find. You can go on. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. Actually, if you like to actually hear me all the time, I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Mythborn Live. And that's live with an exclamation point, Mythborn Live. And I broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. East Coast time. And you guys can, you know, hear new things that's going on in Mythborn. I talk about this. I talk about games. I talk about paranormal and fantasy and, you know, movies and all kinds of stuff. So
you're full of stuff,
YouTube
man.
channel, and you'll...
Yeah, you need a lot of outlets, I'm telling you. Wow.
That's right.
Wow, Vijay, well, you're definitely talented, a great gift to culture for sure. And we thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Danny. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time with me.
You're welcome. I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, and
huge shout out to my peeps in LA, man. I miss you guys.
Yes, to all of them, you know. And I just wanted to have an open invitation for you. Whenever you're in town, you're welcome to come in.
Oh, I
Next
love
time
that.
We'll
I'd
make
love
sure.
to meet you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just had to go out of town, but now we're back, so we'd love to have you. But thank you again for contributing so much to today's show, and all the best to you.
You bet. Just and definitely we were on the air, right?
Yeah, we were.
It's not just for.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Very cool guy, man.
Yeah, he has great energy, for sure.
Really, right? And he does a lot of things. Can you imagine doing martial arts for that long?
I wish I knew martial arts, so if someone came up behind me in a garage, I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, really?
Nobody would
We gonna
be
do
able
this
to
today?
touch you.
Yeah.
Then after 30 years, 3 hours a day?
Yeah, that's a lot. 3 hours a day is a lot for anything, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like on my phone.
Right. We know.
And there's this video, and I almost started crying as I was watching it. There's a video on ABC of a woman running up to a random stranger's house with her kid, like dragging her kid with a bunch of bags full of stuff, and she left her kid there. She ran to her car and drove off.
Wow. Dropped the kid off just in front of somebody's door.
Random house.
Wow.
I hope wherever she's at, because they're trying to figure out who the woman is at this moment in time.
Oh, so this is right now? It's happening
Yeah, it
now?
just uploaded right. Well, it happened last night.
Oh, okay.
But I hope whenever they find out who it is, they find her and she's dead because she's a bitch.
Yeah.
Anyone who could do that to a child.